I'm such a big fan of Ghostbusters. Like growing up, that was like my favorite. I used to have like a little Slimer I'd carry around with me everywhere, and it would have been so cool if I was Spangler, but I was Bankman for Halloween whenever I was like 11. I was obsessed, and I mean, it's always scary like getting involved in something that's so much bigger than yourself, but I'm continually honored to see the fans because I'm a fan.
Please welcome to the stage, Mckenna Grace. Here you go. Thank you. Have a seat. Relax.
Okay, I'm here. I have a red microphone.
Yeah.
Mine is cool.
Oh, thanks.
I'm Mckenna. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Michael. Swell to meet you, too. Thanks for coming out and doing this.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you all for having me.
Once more, give it up.
No, thank you guys.
So I just have a handful of questions for you, and then the audience will have some questions for you. And like I'm saying, just hang out and relax. You're with friends.
Okay, amazing. I'm relaxing.
Good. So you got a really early start around the age of 5 acting. How did that all come about?
I don't know. I was a really creative kid. I'm still a very creative person. I hope. But to be honest, I had this box set of DVDs from my Mima, my great-great-grandma, and she loved Shirley Temple, and I also had this massive collection of like all of the Pee Wee Herman seasons, and I loved those. And so I kind of got into acting because I wanted to be like Shirley Temple or like one of the kids who'd bring Pee Wee like tinfoil. If you've seen it, I don't know. That's what I wanted to do, and then it just like became my life and like my love and my passion.
Do you remember much about like your first audition that you passed and what that feeling was like?
I remember my first audition in California. At least my mom and I were like, I'm from Texas, and my mom and I were like, heck yeah, we want to go out to California for an audition. Neither of us have ever been. Like that sounds so cool. It's like Malibu Barbie. And so we went out, and luckily somehow I managed to book my first 2 auditions that I went out for in California. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so easy. You just like sign your name and then you go and work. It's not that easy. It was so hard. But then I just never really left LA. I don't know.
So you were in the dark comedy I, Tonya.
Yes.
And you played a young Tonya Harding.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have much contact with the real Tonya Harding as far as research?
Yeah, I mean, I had, in comparison to Margot, who had months of training and whatnot, I had about 5 days of pre-production where I had never stepped foot on ice before. And so I had 5 days with like an Olympic coach to learn how to ice skate, like Tonya Harding. So I did my best, and I definitely watched a lot of Margot and of Tonya because I'm playing Tonya, but then I'm also playing Margot's version of Tonya, but then younger, and then also myself. So it was like learning from both of them. But yeah, and then I saw Tonya afterwards and whatnot. I remember going to see her on Dancing with the Stars. Yeah.
It worked out really well. It's a great film. If you haven't seen it yet, I, Tonya is such an incredible.
It's a really lovely film.
It
Margot's
really is.
Fantastic, and Allison too.
And then you were in *Handmaid's Tale*.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a pretty demanding role. Mm-hmm. Were you familiar with the books before you did this, or was this?
Not the books, but the series. But the series was never something I was allowed to watch whenever, because I was only 14 whenever I booked the role. But whenever I booked the role, I binged all the seasons. And it is, if you've seen the show, it's a very heavy show to binge. But I guess it really just got me in the mode to go shoot.
Was the atmosphere working there seem as dark and dreary as the series? I mean, hopefully it was a bit lighter to work on.
The thing about shooting something as dark as Handmaid's Tale or something like that is that you can't have like a set environment that's super down and dark, or else everybody's just going to be like depressed all the time. You got to make sure that your work environment is fun and that people can create and be artistic. And Handmaids is a really, really lovely set to be on. I mean, I started as a wife, which was very funny, and I would have like dinners at the head of the table, and we all had like this running bit going where we'd be the Real Housewives of Gilead. And so it was just like a really funny, like, everybody's just always messing around on there, which I think is very needed and nice for a series like that.
What was the audition process for that like?
Oh, weird just because of the dialogue. Just
Yeah,
because the
that's-
dialogue
yeah.
that I deliver in that show is very dark. And so running sides like that with my mom is weird. I gotta say.
But you did it.
I did it.
Great.
Somehow.
And let's just zoom on over to Ghostbusters Afterlife. Were you nervous about getting involved in a large film franchise? And can you tell us anything about the sequel, Frozen Empire?
I can say nothing about the sequel, except I just finished reshoots last night at midnight.
Good going.
I finished reshoots at midnight last night in Atlanta, and then I went to bed at 2 because I had to get all the wig glue out of my hair, and then I got up at 4 and went to the airport and flew here, and now I'm here. So I'm still going on like 3 hours of sleep, so forgive me.
So as far as Afterlife goes, I mean, it's such a great story
It's such a fantastic movie. I love it so much. I'm such a big fan of Ghostbusters. Like growing up, that was like my favorite. I used to have like a little slime ride carry around with me everywhere, and it would have been so cool if I was Spangler, but I was Bankman for Halloween whenever I was like 11. I was obsessed, and I mean, it's always scary like getting involved in something that's so much bigger than yourself, but I'm continually honored to see the fans, because I'm a fan, to be a part of the Ghostbusters family, because it's such a massive family, and something I'll never get used to how like amazing it is that every city you go to, there's Ghostbusters clubs, which I'm sure a lot of you know. There's always the Ghostbusters clubs, and I get all the patches, and I have this jacket that I line with all the Ghostbusters clubs that I've met, and I don't know, it's so fantastic, and it's such a beautiful thing to be a part of. I don't know, it's so much bigger than me, so I'm like honored. I don't know, it's weird.
And it's great. So what was the premiere like? Because a film this much over the top, was there anything unusual about the premiere of the movie?
I mean, the premiere was during COVID, so everything was during COVID, which was the worst. But
Never mind.
my favorite part about screening Ghostbusters was the premiere was something else. It was so special to be able to see like that. But before the premiere, we did a surprise screening at Comic-Con for like a few thousand people, and that was my first taste at getting to see how people react to the film, and getting to see how people react to like me as Phoebe, my character, and as a Spangler, and getting to see just how invested and emotionally invested everybody is, because I am too. I was crying and looking around and seeing everybody else crying around me, and I was like, wow, oh my God, this is insane, Because usually you watch something that you create and you're like, oh, this is so special to see on screen since I like created it, but then getting to see everybody else be that involved and that in it too, and getting to bring something back to life that's been so special to so many people, and getting to see everybody, all the Ghostbusters fans at Comic-Con, experience that as a surprise for the first time was one of my like favorite life experiences.
Wow. So I got to ask you, you also have a music career too. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, my first single that I ever released was the end credits of Ghostbusters Afterlife, which is crazy. It was a song called Haunted House. Yeah, that was the end credits to Ghostbusters, which was crazy, and came about because I messaged Jason Reitman to see if he would be interested in directing my music video, or what he thought of the song. And he was like, oh, this is great. I don't have time to direct a music video, though I'd love to, but like, this is great. Would you mind if I threw it in the end credits?
That's how stuff like that happens.
Would I mind? What am I, like, what? Yeah, that's like a dream come true. It was crazy. And somehow that's like forever in the end credits. I don't even know. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's much better than a music video.
Yeah, much better than a music video, I gotta say. But I don't know. And since then, I've just been trying to release music, and I've constantly been experimenting with new things. I love music. I love music.
So do you consider yourself a musician that acts, or an actor that does music?
An actor that does music. I mean, I've been acting for like 12 and a half years now, So it's my life.
It is. Would you mind getting some questions from the audience? That would be a nice thing.
I would mind, actually.
Okay, good. We can just hang out.
Of course.
Right down front, Kyle. All right. Go where you want. Sorry.
I chose Spengler first.
Don't take any offense.
Yes, this is for you.
So,
Hi.
McKenna, I have a question. So, how did Jason Reitman know you would become the role as Phoebe? When did you get selected as the role?
Well, I'm gonna be so honest. I really did not think I was gonna get the role. Like, I really didn't. I did quite a few auditions, and then after my callback, I didn't hear anything for a long time, and I was like, wow, it was just like an honor to be able to audition for something like that, and to possibly have like Jason Reitman or Ivan Reitman see my tape. And I got invited to the chemistry reads where it would be in person with Miss Carrie Coon and Logan, who plays Podcast. And they had like a little miniature set, and Jason was there, and Ivan was there. And going into the chemistry read, I was like, I'm not going to cry. Like, I'm not going to. This is an audition. Be professional, McKenna. And I cried because I got to meet Ivan, and I got to put on the proton pack for my chemistry read. And it was one of the best moments of my life. I never would have imagined getting to put on a real proton pack. And I don't know. I actually was in Atlanta doing reshoots for a film called Annabelle Comes Home. And I was in my hotel room whenever it was like, hey, Jason wants to have like a meeting with you to like talk about the movie and stuff. And I was like, yes. And he was like, so like, how bad do you want to be a Ghostbuster? And I was like, more than anything. Is this guy for real? Like, yeah, more than anything. But I didn't realize he was asking me like, am I prepared to be a part of the franchise in the film? My mom was like, McKenna, are you stupid? He's asking. He's like, you booked it. And then I started crying. Sorry, long story. I love Ghostbusters.
No, you were so great just as Egon's granddaughter, and you captured that personality. Did you watch old footage of Harold Ramis to kind of study so you could be his granddaughter's character?
Yeah, I did. I also read Violet Ramis's book. And I, growing up was such a massive fan of Ghostbusters, so it's not like I was unfamiliar with Egon. But yeah, and I talked with Jason and Ivan both a lot, and while I was on set, thank you so much. While I was on set, I had Jason directing me, and then I had Ivan directing me, and then whenever Bill was on set, Bill was like a third director, so it was like I was constantly getting advice and input on what to do, so it was really lovely.
Next question down front.
Hi. I love your music, by the way.
Thank you.
Who inspired you most to write music, and would you ever do like live performances?
I've done 2 live shows. I played one in LA earlier this year, my first one, and then I played a festival over the summer in Florida. I would love to keep playing shows, but right now I'd say one of my biggest musical influences is Lana Del Rey and Taylor Swift. I know that's like really basic, but I mean, they're so smart. I mean, they're lyrical geniuses.
Okay, let's grab it right there. They're all over, Kyle, wherever you want to go. There's a question.
They're everywhere.
Hi, it's awesome to meet you.
Your haircut's so pretty.
Thank you. I was thinking the same thing about yours.
And that color looks great on you.
Thank you. But I'm a really big fan of Young Sheldon, and I was just wondering what your favorite behind-the-scenes moment from Young Sheldon is.
Man, I gotta think. I always get it confused because I hang out with Reagan, who plays Missy. I mean, her and I have known each other since before the show, I think. And so I hang out with her all the time, and I get like my memories of us hanging out confused with being on set. I really loved the last season. I don't remember what episode it was, but I think I was at like a frat party or something. And that was just a really funny episode to shoot because I had never done anything like that. And I was playing fake drunk. And that was just really funny to do around Reagan and Ian, who play Missy and Sheldon. And all of us were just having such a good time because I throw up in the Friends fountain. And so all of us were just having such a good time, like taking pictures and messing around on set whenever we were doing that episode.
All right, another one down front. We're here.
Hi.
How's it going?
Alright.
So Bill Murray has been notoriously difficult to nail down for any kind of Ghostbusters sequel. Do you know how they got him for not 1 but 2 further Ghostbusters movie? And is there any chance that he may actually come back if there were any future ones. If you don't know,
I cannot say anything, but Bill is hilarious. Like, it'll be like the day before shooting, and they'll be like, so we don't like know if Bill's coming yet, but he should be here like tomorrow. And I'm like, wait, what? He's supposed to start shooting like tomorrow morning. And they're like, yeah, I mean, like, he sent us a fax. Like, I think he's driving in from like North Carolina. And I'm like, what? He's driving himself in and he like is faxing you guys. But then randomly he'll like, I don't know. He's so funny like that. Like, you never know with Bill. But I don't know. I don't know how we got him to come back for ours, but I mean, it's a miracle, and I was so happy to have him and work with him. He's brilliant. He's freaking hilarious. It's Bill Murray.
Is he still obsessed with karaoke? Because for a while he was really obsessed with karaoke.
Was he? I mean, this is a fun story. On the Ghostbusters Afterlife, it was actually Bill's birthday, one of the days. And he hired a bagpiper to follow him around set all day and play bagpipes. And everybody was like, why is there a bagpiper here? Like, what's going on? And then there was a cheerleading team who came in at lunch and started cheering. And then he had, like, all of us were just sitting, enjoying our lunch in the tent, talking. And all of a sudden, you just hear really faintly, like, bagpipes. And everybody got quiet and was like, what? And then Bill comes in and he's just casually getting his lunch in the Ghostbusters suit. And then a bagpiper starts following him around the tent. And everybody's like, what is going on? And then he sets down his lunch. And he starts singing in front of us all. And everybody's like, is this a dream? Like, what's going on? And he stood in front of the entire lunch tent, the entire crew and cast, and sang like an old Irish song or something like that. And honestly, it was really beautiful. Like, some of us, me, were like laughing so hard that like they were crying. And then other of us were so like touched that we were crying. Like, it was so, I don't know, it was a really strange and very funny, also moving experience. I don't know, he got everybody in the tent to sing with him to this bagpiper. I don't even know, it was crazy.
And back there.
Hi, Mckenna. So
Where are you?
Right here.
Way down the middle. So there you go.
So, since you're such a big fan of Ghostbusters, what was it like? What was your first experience meeting Annie Potts when you were on Young Sheldon? And what's it like working with her?
I love her. I love her so freaking much. Oh man, when did I meet her on Young Sheldon? I can't even remember, because my first real, her and I never had scenes together, I don't think. I feel like we just kind of met in passing. I'm like, oh my God, that's Annie Potts. But like, we really met on the first not the first, but you know, my first Ghostbusters Afterlife was our like first real meeting. And I was like, I work with you on Young Sheldon. You know, like, hi, I kind of know you. But I mean, since then I've seen her semi like every once in a while, often like on Young Sheldon or just in general for Ghostbusters things. And I don't know, she's so cool. She's like, I don't know, I love her. I think that she's like one of the coolest like ladies out there.
Question right there.
Hi, I just wanted to ask you, number one, what is your favorite lyric you've ever written? Because me and my sister really like Haunted House and like all of your music, you know, we listen to it all the time. And also, what is your favorite Taylor Swift album?
Folklore.
Obviously, yeah.
Like, come on. But also I'm like in a Reputation vibe right now. I mean, come on. When is she going to release Taylor's version? But I don't know. My favorite lyrics are probably unreleased, but ones that I have out there. This is stupid, but I just liked writing this. It was like, you said you'd love me till the bitter end, and you didn't lie because the end was bitter. I don't know. I liked that. I thought that was fun.
When you write music, do you do music first or lyrics first?
Both, because I work with my producer at the same time, so we just kind of go back and forth, and I write lyrics as he, like, you know, does the things.
And right down there.
Hey, Mckenna.
Hi.
So, looking at your stuff on IMDb, you've gotten into like everything. You're producing, you're writing like stuff for movies and stuff like that, writing music, acting. What gives you the most fulfillment? Like, what is the thing that, like, when you're done, you're like, I really feel accomplished, and this is almost like this is what I think I'm going to go to, like, and do that exclusively.
I will forever be an actor. Like nothing. There's a Spider-Man Ghostbuster over there. Sorry, that's fantastic. Hey, I love it. But anywho, I really love acting. There's nothing that makes me happier than being on a film set. I don't know like how to explain it, but I don't know. I'll always love it. And I love creating music and I love writing because it's something that I get to do with my dad. My dad and I write our scripts together. But I love being on set and I love acting, especially whenever it gets to be on something as like special as Ghostbusters.
Okay, we got time for about 2 or 3 more questions. Kyle, you're coming up the back. What's happening?
Woo!
Right there, right where? Got it. You stand up for your question. There you go, buddy.
Hey, Alexander!
Hi.
Right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you.
You too. I have a question. Mm-hmm. What was your favorite scene in Ghostbusters Afterlife doing?
My favorite scene in Ghostbusters Afterlife. That's the question, right?
Yes.
Okay. I loved the scene where we're going down the elevator to Gozer's shrine. I loved whenever we're going down the elevator because I thought it was so cool. They actually had us in this elevator that was way off the ground, and we had all of our flashlights. And Logan, who plays podcast, and I had learned Morse code while we were on set. We were always learning random things, and so we'd be like flashing our flashlights and trying to spell things out. And while we were going down the elevator, I got to tell all of my own jokes. Because I did that throughout the film, was all the jokes. I would tell different ones every single take. And whatever ended up in the film was just like Jason's favorite, So I loved getting to go down the elevator. I thought it was so cool to be like so far above everything. And the temple was so well made and insane. A lot of it was made out of styrofoam. Isn't that weird? I know. But that was one of my favorite entire sequences to shoot all inside the temple.
We got 2 more questions. You're going to be headed back to your table to sign after this?
I am. I'm going to be back at my table after this.
Okay, so just 2 more questions, and then...
Okay, hi. So...
You stand up?
Hey, okay.
Hi.
Hi. So the bad seed was really dark. How did you get in the character for that one?
I went really method. I played a killer on that one. I don't know. I really do a lot of Ghostbusters, and I did Paw Patrol. That was really light. Those are probably my lightest roles that I've gotten to do besides little things here and there. I really do a lot of dark and dramatic stuff, which is honestly really fun. It's really fun to do and to get into character for and to figure out. But with the bad seed and specifics, I did get to talk to Patty McCormick a lot, which was very cool. And Rob Lowe was directing it, and he was playing my dad in it, and he gave me a copy of the original Bad Seed book that he had marked up and that he had written all sorts of notes in. So I read that. I did my research more so on the original versus trying to get into the mind of playing a 12-year-old psychopath.
And final question coming at us.
All right. I'm a really big Haunting of Hill House fan. Do you have any fun stories from being on the set of Haunting of Hill House?
Was it episode 5 or 6 that they shot that it looked like one continuous take? I don't remember which episode it was, but they probably did that. We had 3 weeks of pre-production just to rehearse that. It was one big massive dance because the entire episode that was about an hour long was shot in about 4 takes and about 4 Yeah, in about 4 takes. So we were doing like 15, 20-minute long scenes where they're going upstairs. Then because they built the entire Hill House like mansion on a soundstage in a warehouse, they had this 2-story massive house, which was crazy. But we had so much time to rehearse, and I just thought that it was really cool to be able to do something like that. I know that it's not like a fun behind the scenes or anything like that, but that was one of my like main memories, was getting to go through. It was almost like doing a little like segment of a play at a time, because we all had to go and do our things, and then we'd sit around for 5 minutes in the scene, and then it'd be like, go, and if anybody missed their mark, then we'd have to do it over again. And then they had an elevator because the cameraman had to back up just perfectly, then it looked like he was floating up, and then we had special effects, but then somebody's supposed to be over here, but then you turn around and they're here. So there was so much going on, and getting to rehearse that and shoot that was probably one of my favorite parts of that show.
We can't thank you enough for coming out and doing this.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mckenna Grace, give it up.
Hi.
Headed back to her table to sign.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Keep it going. One more time.
Thank you for having me. I'm going to go back to my table now, so I'll see some of you.
Yep, you didn't have time to ask her a question here. She'll be at her table. Thank you, Mckenna. And thank you guys. Great job. One more time, Mckenna Grace.